Hello class, and welcome to the lecture on Chapter 8, Firefighting Tools and Equipment. From the simplest breaching tool to the most complex remote-controlled hazardous materials robot, firefighters find efficiency, effectiveness, and safety in their tools and equipment. Proper selection, use, and maintenance of the broad range of tools and equipment available to today's firefighters can minimize hazards, mitigate incidents efficiently, and maximize the life safety aspects of emergency response and drill ground activities. After you complete this chapter and the related coursework, you will have an understanding of the types of hand-operated and power-supplied tools and equipment used in the fire service. Students will be able to describe the functional categories of tools, including rotating, pushing, pulling, prying, spreading, striking, and cutting. You will know the application of common tools and equipment during various phases of fire suppression and rescue operations. Students will also grasp the importance of tool staging, inspection, and maintenance. Now class, let's take a look at the learning objectives. Remember from previous lectures that all test questions are mapped to one of these learning objectives, so if you take the time to learn the learning objectives, you'll be able to do substantially well on the written and the manipulative skills test. After studying this chapter, you should be able to describe the general purposes of tools and equipment, describe the safety considerations for the use of tools and equipment, describe why it is important to use tools and equipment effectively, describe why it is important to know where tools are stored, list and describe tools and equipment that are used for rotating, list and describe tools and equipment that are used for pushing or pulling, list and describe tools and equipment that are used for prying and spreading, list and describe tools and equipment that are used for striking, list and describe tools and equipment that are used for cutting. You should be able to describe the tools used in response and scene size-up activities. Describe the tools used in a forcible entry. Describe the tools used during an interior attack. Describe the tools used in search and rescue operations. Describe the tools used during ventilation operations. Describe the tools used during salvage and overhaul operations. You should also be able to describe the importance of properly maintaining tools and equipment, list supplies needed to clean and inspect hand tools, explain the importance of replacing tools in their assigned locations, and identify procedures, including reporting requirements for removing a damaged tool from service. The manipulative skills that you'll be performing out of this chapter is you should be able to clean and inspect all hand tools. Firefighters use tools and equipment to perform a wide range of activities. Firefighters must know how to effectively, efficiently, and safely use tools and equipment even in the dark and during limited visibility environments. The same tools may be used in different ways during each phase of fire suppression or rescue operations. Tools and equipment are used in almost all fire suppression and rescue operations. Hand tools are used to extend or multiply body actions and increase the effectiveness in performing specific functions. Hand tool operation uses simple machine principles. Pike pole extends reach and allows ceiling penetration and pull down. An axe multiplies the cutting force exerted on a given area. Power tools and equipment use an external source, such as electric motors or an internal combustion engine, and are faster and more efficient than hand tools. Safety is a prime consideration when using tools and equipment. Safe equipment operation avoids unintentional injury to firefighter, other responders, victims, and bystanders. Safe operation requires use of proper approved personal protective equipment, such as an approved helmet, protective hood, eye protection, face shield, firefighting gloves, structural firefighting protective coat, structural firefighting protective pants, boots, self-contained breathing apparatus, and a personal alert system known as a PASS. The best way to learn how to use tools and equipment properly is under optimal conditions of visibility and safety. In the beginning, you must be able to see what you are doing and practice without endangering yourself and others. As proficiency increases, practice using tools and equipment under more realistic working conditions. Eventually, you must be able to use tools and equipment safely and effectively when darkness or smoke decreases your visibility. You must be able to work safely in hazardous areas from a ladder or pitched roof where you are surrounded by noise and other activities while wearing all of your protective clothing and using your self-contained breathing apparatus. Many departments require firefighters to practice certain skills and evolutions in total darkness or with their face masks covered to simulate the darkness of actual fires. Effective and efficient use of tools and equipment means using the least amount of energy to accomplish the task. Being effective means you achieve the desired goal. Being efficient means you produce the desired effect without wasting time or energy. When assigned a task on the fire ground, your objective is to complete the task safely and quickly. If you waste energy by working inefficiently, you will not be able to perform additional tasks. However, if you know which tools and equipment are needed for each phase of firefighting, you will be able to achieve the desired objective quickly and have the energy needed to complete the remaining task. It is also important to pace yourself. Exceeding your limits will prevent you from completing required tasks. New firefighters are often surprised by the strength and energy required to perform many tasks. An aggressive, continuous program of physical fitness will enable you to maintain your body in the optimal state of readiness. As your training continues, you will learn which tools and equipment are used during different phases of fireground operations. Knowing which tools are needed for work that must be done will help you prepare for the different tasks that unfold on the scene of a fire. Most fire departments have standard operating procedures known as SOPs or guidelines that specify the tools and equipment needed in various situations. As a firefighter, you must know where every tool and piece of equipment is carried on your apparatus. Knowing how to use a piece of equipment does you no good if you cannot find it quickly. Your company officer is responsible for telling you which tools to bring along for different situations. Some firefighters carry a selection of small tools and equipment in the pockets of their coats or pants. Check to see whether your department requires you to carry certain tools and equipment at all times. Ask senior firefighters for recommendations about what tools and equipment you should carry. An engine or truck company carries a number of tools and different types of equipment. Often, the easiest way to learn and remember these tools is to group them by the function each performs. Most of the tools used by fire departments fit into the following functional categories. You have rotating tool, assembly or disassembly. You have a prying or spreading. You have a pushing or pulling tool. You have a striking tool. You have a cutting tool, and you have tools for multiple use. Rotating tools apply to rotational force to make something turn. The most common rotating tools are screwdrivers, wrenches, and pliers. They are used to assemble or fit together or disassemble, take apart, parts that are connected with threaded fasteners. Examples include a box end wrench, gripping pliers, hydrant wrench, open end wrench, combination wrench, pipe wrench, screwdriver, socket wrench, and spanner wrench. Assembling and disassembling are basic mechanical tools that are routinely used by firefighters to solve problems. Most fire apparatus carry a toolkit with a selection of screwdrivers with different heads, open end wrenches, box wrenches, socket wrenches, pliers, adjustable wrenches, and pipe wrenches. There are several various sizes and types of screw heads, including slotted head, Phillips head, Roberts head, and others. A screwdriver with interchangeable heads is sometimes more useful than a selection of screwdrivers. Pliers and wrenches come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Okay, let's look at the pushing and pulling tools. These tools can extend the reach of the firefighter and increase the power that can be exerted on an object. These tools also have many different uses in the fire department operations. An example of a tool that extends reach is a pike pole. A pike pole consists of a wood or fiberglass pole with a metal head attached to one end. A pike pole is used primarily to pull down a ceiling to get the seat of a fire burning above. The metal head has a sharpened point that can be punched through the ceiling and a hook that can grab and pull it down. Pike poles come in several different sizes and with a variety of heads. The most common length of 4 to 6 feet enables a firefighter to stand on a floor and pull down a 10-foot high ceiling. Closet hooks, intended for use in tight spaces, are commonly 2 to 4 feet long. Some pike poles are equipped with handles as long as 12 or 14 feet for use in rooms with very high ceilings. Others may have a D-type handle for better pulling power. Bring the right size pike pole to a fire. The different head designs are intended for different types of ceilings and come in a variety of configurations. Many fire departments use one type of pike pole for plaster ceilings and another for drywall ceilings. Common pulling poles and hooks would be the ceiling hook, the Clemens hook, the drywall hook, the multi-purpose hook, the plaster hook, the roofman's hook, and the San Francisco hook. A K-tool is another type of pushing or pulling tool. This tool is used to pull the lock cylinder out of a door, exposing the locking mechanism so it can be unlocked easily. A shove knife is also used to release the latch on a door. Pulling the tool down and outward releases the locking mechanism. Do not use on inward swinging doors. It's not effective on doors with metal frames. Prying and spreading tools. These tools may be as simple as a pry bar or as mechanically complex as a hydraulic spreader. They also come in several variations for different applications. One of the most popular prying tools is a Halligan tool, which was designed by a New York City firefighter. This tool incorporates a sharp tapered pick, a blade, and a fork or claw. It can be used for forcible entry applications. Common prying tools include the claw bar, the crowbar, the flat bar, the hooks bar, the Kelly tool, the pry bar. Hydraulic spreaders are an example of machine-powered rescue tools. The use of hydraulic power enables you to apply several tons of force on a very small area. You need to have special training to operate these machines safely. Fire and rescue departments most commonly use them for extrication from machines and machinery. Hand-powered hydraulic tools are also used for prying and spreading. One of these, called a rabbet tool, is designed for quickly opening doors. Class, in this slide you can see the different types of hydraulic cutting tools and spreading tools and the rabbet tool down there in the lower left corner. Okay, and you can see on the right-hand side of your screen is the hydraulic spreaders. Striking tools. Striking tools are used to apply an impact force to an object. They are often used to gain entrance to a building or a vehicle or to make an opening in a wall or roof. They can also be used to force the end of a prying tool into a small opening. One of the most frequently used tools in the fire service is the axe. Both flathead axes and pick-headed axes are used. Both types of axes have a wide cutting blade that can be used to chop into a wall, roof, or door. A pick-headed axe has a point or a pick that can be used for puncturing, pulling, and prying. A flathead axe also can be used as a striking tool for forcible entry, usually in combination with a prying tool, such as a Halligan tool. Together, the flathead axe and the Halligan tool are sometimes referred to as the irons and are very effective for most forcible entry situations. Some of the most common striking tools we use in the fire service are the hammer, the mallet, the maul, the sledgehammer, battering ram, chisel, and spring-loaded center punch. The spring-loaded center punch is a striking tool used primarily on cars. This tool can exert a large amount of force on a pinpoint size portion of tempered automobile glass. This disrupts the integrity of the glass and causes the window to shatter into small, uniform-sized pieces. It's often used in vehicle crashes to gain access to a victim who needs care. Cutting tools have a sharp edge that severs an object. They come in several forms and are used to cut a wide variety of substances. Cutting tools used by firefighters range from knives or wire cutters carried in the pockets of protective coats to seatbelt cutters, bolt cutters, which are like a scissor-like tool used to cut through items such as chains or padlocks, and saws. Cutting torches, which is a torch that produces a high temperature flame capable of melting through metal, and hydraulic shears. Each is designed to work on certain types of materials. Firefighters can be injured and cutting tools can be ruined if tools are used incorrectly. Bolt cutters are most often used to cut through chains or padlocks to open doors and gates. By concentrating the cutting force on a small area, you can break through a chain in just a few seconds. Fire departments often carry several types of saws. Saws can be divided into two main categories based on the power source: hand saws versus mechanical saws. Hand saws are manually powered, and mechanical saws are usually powered by electric motors or gasoline-powered engines. Hand saws include hacksaws, carpenter's hand saws, keyhole saws, and coping saws. Hacksaws are designed to cut metal. Different blades can be used depending on the type of metal being cut. Hacksaws are useful when metal needs to be cut under closely controlled conditions. Carpenter's hand saws are designed for cutting wood. Saws with large teeth are effective in cutting large timbers or tree branches. These saws are useful at automobile crashes where tree limbs may hamper the rescue effort. Saws with finer teeth are designed for cutting finished lumber. A coping saw is used to cut curves in wood and has a narrow blade set between the ends of a U-shaped frame. A keyhole saw, a specialty saw, is narrow and slender and can be used to cut keyholes in wood. Although hand saws have a valuable role, power saws have the advantage of accomplishing more work in a shorter period of time. They also enable firefighters to conserve energy, resulting in less fatigue. Because mechanical saws are powerful, they must only be used by trained operators. There are some disadvantages to using power saws. They are heavy to perform and sometimes can be difficult to start. They may also require an electrical connection, although cordless models are becoming more available. There are three primary types of mechanical saws. We use chainsaws, rotary saws, and reciprocating saws. Most people are familiar with the gasoline-powered or electric chainsaws commonly used to cut wood, particularly trees. Firefighters often use saws with special chains to cut ventilation openings in roofs constructed of wood, metal, tar, gravel, or insulating materials. Rotary saws are powered by electric motors or gasoline engines. In some rotary saws, the cutting part of the saw is a round metal blade with teeth. Different blades are used depending on the type of material being cut. Other rotary saws use a flat abrasive disc for cutting. The discs are made of composite materials and are designed to wear down as they are used. It is important to match the appropriate saw blade or saw disc to the material being cut. Reciprocating saws are powered by an electric or battery motor that rapidly pulls a saw blade back and forth. As with rotary saws, reciprocating saws use different blades to cut different materials. Reciprocating saws are most commonly used to cut metal during vehicle extrication. The cutting tools that require the most training are hydraulic shears and the cutting torch. Hydraulic shears are often used with hydraulic spreaders and rams in automobile extrication. The same hydraulic power source can be used with all three types of tools. Hydraulic cutters can cut quickly through metal posts and bars. Cutting torches produce an extremely high temperature flame and are capable of heating steel until it melts, thereby cutting through the object. Because these torches produce such high temperatures, anywhere from 5,700 degrees Fahrenheit, operators must be specially trained before using this tool. Cutting torches are sometimes used for rescue situations and for cutting through heavy steel objects. They cannot be used where flammable fuels are present. Let's talk about multiple function tools. Certain tools are designed to perform multiple functions, thus reducing the number of tools needed to achieve a goal. One example is a flathead axe because it can be used as either a cutting or a striking tool. There are combination tools that can be used to cut, pry, strike, and turn off utilities. Special use tools. Some fire situations require the special use tools that perform other functions. For example, class, fire departments located in areas where brush and ground fires occur frequently may need to carry rakes, brooms, shovels, and combination tools that can be used for raking, chopping, cutting, and leaf blowing. Fire department rescue squads also use specialized equipment such as jacks and airbags for lifting heavy objects, come-alongs, or level blocks for dragging heavy objects, and tripods. You can learn more about the proper use of this special equipment by taking special rescue courses or during in-service training at your fire department. Okay, class, let's talk about the phases of use. The process of extinguishing a fire usually involves a sequence of steps or stages. Each phase of a fireground operation may require the use of certain types of tools and equipment. The basic steps of fire suppression include: number 1, response size up. This phase begins when the emergency call is received and continues as the units travel to the incident scene. The last part of this phase involves the initial observation and evaluation of factors used to determine the strategy and tactics that will be used. Number 2 is forcible entry. This phase applies when entry to buildings, vehicles, aircraft, or other confined areas are locked or blocked, requiring firefighters to use special techniques to gain access. 3 is interior attack. During this phase, a team of firefighters is assigned to enter a structure and attempt fire suppression. 4, search and rescue. As its name suggests, this phase involves a search for any victims trapped by the fire and their rescue from the building. 5 is rapid intervention. A rapid intervention company or crew, also referred to as a RIC team, is a team of fully equipped personnel that is designated to provide immediate assistance to injured or trapped firefighters. 6 is ventilation. This step involves changing air within a compartment by natural or mechanical means. Finally, number 7 is overhaul. The final phase is to ensure that all hidden fires are extinguished after the main fire has been suppressed. Let's talk about response and size-up tools and equipment. The response and size-up phase enables you to anticipate emergency situations. At this time, you should consider the information from the dispatcher along with pre-incident plan information about the location. This information can provide you with an idea of the nature and possible gravity of the situation and the types of problems that might arise. For example, class, an automobile fire on a highway may present different problems and require different tools than a call for smoke coming from a single-family house. Even though information is limited, this is the time to start thinking about the types of tools and equipment that you might need. Most fire departments have SOPs or guidelines that specify the tools and equipment required for different types of fires. On arrival at the scene, the company officers will size up the situation and develop the action plans for each company following SOPs and guidelines. This plan will determine what tools are needed. Forcible entry tools and equipment. Gaining entrance to a locked building or structure can present a challenge to even the most seasoned firefighter. Buildings are often equipped with security devices designed to keep unwanted people out, but these same devices can make it very difficult for firefighters to gain access to the building. Forcible entry is the process of entering a building by overcoming these barriers. Several types of tools can be used in force entry, including an axe, a prying tool, or a K-tool. A flathead axe and a Halligan tool are often used in combination to quickly pry open a door, although they may permanently damage both the door and the frame. Prying tools used for gaining access include pry bars, crowbars, Halligan tools, hooks bars, and the hydraulic-powered rabbit tool. A K-tool can be used to pull out a cylinder lock mounted in a wood or heavy metal door so that the lock can be released. This is a comparatively non-destructive process that leaves the door and most of the locking mechanism undamaged. The building owner can have the lock cylinder replaced at a relatively low cost. Various striking tools can be used for forcible entry when brute force is needed to break into a building. These include flathead axes, hammers, sledgehammers, and battering rams. Sometimes the easiest or only way to gain access is to use cutting tools. An axe can be used to cut out a door panel. A power saw can be used to cut through a wood wall. Bolt cutters can be used to remove a padlock. Cutting torches or rotary power saws can be used to cut through metal security bars. Cutting torches or rotary power saws can be used to cut through metal security bars. Although curing is a destructive process, it is justified when required to save lives or property. Many techniques can be used to gain entry into secured structures. The exact tool needed will depend on the method of entry and the type of obstacle. Because experience usually determines the best way to gain entry in each situation, rely on the orders and advice of your captain and co-workers. Now let's take a look at the interior firefighting tools and equipment. The process of fighting a fire inside a building involves several tasks that are usually performed simultaneously or in rapid succession by teams of firefighters, such as combined operations. Some basic tools and equipment should be carried by every crew working inside a burning building. The basic tools enable them to solve problems they may encounter while performing interior operations. For example, the crew may encounter obstacles such as locked doors, or they may need to open an emergency escape route. They may need to establish horizontal ventilation by forcing, opening, or breaking a window. They may have to gain access to the space above the ceiling by using a pike pole or to make a hole in a wall or floor with an axe. A powerful light is important because smoke can quickly reduce interior visibility to just a few inches. The basic set of tools for interior firefighting includes a prying tool, such as a Halligan tool, a striking tool, such as a flathead axe or sledgehammer, a cutting tool, such as an axe, a pushing tool, such as a pike pole, a hand light or portable light. Crews may often carry specialized tools and equipment needed for their particular assignment. The specific tools that must be carried by each crew are usually defined in a department's training manuals and their SOPs. Search and rescue tools and equipment. Search and rescue needs to be performed quickly, shortly after arrival on the fire ground. A search team should carry the same basic hand tools as the interior attack team. These tools can be used both to open an area for a search and an emergency exit path. In addition to being equipped for forcible entry and emergency exit, a search and rescue team may also use tools to probe under beds for unconscious victims. A short pike pole or closet hook is relatively light and reduces the time needed to search an area by extending the firefighter's reach. The following tools are also used: hand light or flashlight, portable radio, thermal imaging devices, hose lines, ladders, search ropes, tubular webbing or short rope, chalk, crayons, markers, paint, or masking tape for making the doors of rooms that have been searched. Rapid intervention tools and equipment. The RIC is designated to stand by to provide immediate assistance to any firefighters who become lost, trapped, or injured during an incident or training exercise. Team members should have the standard set of tools for interior firefighting and extra tools and equipment, particularly important to search and rescue tasks. The extra tools and equipment should help them find and gain access to a firefighter who is in trouble, extricate a firefighter who is trapped under debris, and provide breathing air for a firefighter who has experienced an SCBA failure or run out of air, and finally, remove an injured or unconscious firefighter from the building. All of this equipment should be gathered and staged with the RIC, where it will be immediately available if it is needed. The special equipment that a RIC should carry includes thermal imaging device, additional portable lighting, search ropes, prying tools, striking tools, cutting tools including a power saw, SCBA and spare air cylinders with RIC universal air connection, and a litter or patient packaging device. Ventilation tools and equipment. Many of the same tools used for forcible entry are also used to provide ventilation. Power saws and axes are commonly used to cut through roofs and vent combustion byproducts. Unlocked or easily released windows and doors should be opened normally. Locked or jammed windows and doors may have to be broken or forced open using basic interior firefighting tools. It may also be necessary to make interior openings within the building so that contaminated air can reach the exterior openings. Firefighters can also use mechanical ventilation. Fans are often used either to remove smoke from a building or to introduce fresh air into a structure. Negative pressure fans, or smoke ejectors, draw contaminated air out of a building. Positive pressure fans blow fresh air into a building to force contaminated air out of the building. Ventilation fans can be powered by either electric or gasoline motors or water pressure. A series of electric fans may be placed throughout a large structure to help move smoke in the desired direction. A gasoline-powered fan may not be suitable in some situations because it can introduce carbon monoxide. If a building contains dangerous levels of flammable gases, water-powered fans may be the best choice. Salvage and overhaul tools and equipment. The purpose of salvage and overhaul is to protect property and belongings from damage, to ensure that all hidden fires are extinguished. Burn debris must be removed, and potential hot spots in enclosed spaces behind walls, above ceilings, and under floors must be exposed and then extinguished. Both tasks can be accomplished using simple hand tools. These tools include salvage covers and floor runners, sprinkler shutoff tools, water removal equipment such as water vacuums, ventilation equipment such as fans or power blowers, pushing tools such as pike poles or varying lengths, prying tools such as the Halligan tool, cutting tools, axes and power saws, debris removal tools such as shovels, brooms, rakes, and carryalls, and then thermal imaging cameras. Maintenance. Tools and equipment must be properly maintained so that they will be ready for use when they are needed. Keep equipment clean and free from dust. Keep cutting blades sharpened. Keep fuel tanks filled. Every tool and piece of equipment must be ready for use before you respond to an emergency incident. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions for cleaning and maintaining each piece of equipment. Use equipment only for its intended purposes. For example, class, a pike pole is made for pushing and pulling. It is not a lever and will break if used inappropriately. Use the right tool for the right job. Cleaning and inspecting hand tools. All hand tools should be completely cleaned and inspected after use. Remove all dirt and debris. If appropriate, use water streams to remove the debris and soap to clean the equipment thoroughly. Learn how to use cleaning solutions. Before any tool is placed back into service, it should be inspected for damage. Avoid painting tools, because this will hide any possible defects or visible damage. Keep the number of markings on a tool to a minimum. To clean and inspect hand tools, make sure to follow the steps in Skill Drill 8-1 in your textbook. Immediately after cleaning and inspecting tools, place them back in their proper location, ready for use. If tools are damaged and need repair or replacement, they must be removed from service. Make sure to follow your department's standard operating procedures. All right, class, we're now into the lesson, so I'd like to summarize one more time some of the most important points that you should have gotten out of this lecture. Tools and equipment are used in almost all fire suppression and rescue operations. Hand tools are used to extend or multiply the actions of your body and to increase your effectiveness in performing specific functions. Power tools and equipment use an external source of power and are faster and more efficient than hand tools. Make sure you always wear PPE when using tools or equipment. Most tools fit into the following functional categories. Rotating tools are tools that apply rotational force to make something turn and are used to assemble and disassemble items. Rotating tools include screwdrivers, wrenches, and pliers. Next, you have prying or spreading tools. They are used to pry and spread. They may be as simple as a pry bar or as mechanically complex as a hydraulic spreader. Prying and spreading tools include the claw bar, crowbar, and Halligan tool. Pushing and pulling tools. These are tools that extend your reach and increase the power you can exert upon an object. Pushing and pulling tools include pike poles, closet hooks, K-tools, shove knives, and sealing hooks. Next, we have striking tools. These tools are used to apply an impact force to an object. Striking tools include hammers, mallets, axes, and spring-loaded center punches. Next, we have cutting tools. These tools have a sharp edge that sever objects. Cutting tools include axes, bolt cutters, chainsaws, cutting torches, hand saws, and power tools. Finally, we have multiple use tools. These tools are designated to perform multiple functions, thereby reducing the number of tools needed to achieve a goal. Some combination tools can be used to cut, to pry, to strike, and to turn off utilities. The following forcible entry tools are used to gain entrance to a locked building. Prying tools. They are used to break windows or force open doors. An axe is used to cut through a door or break a window. A sledgehammer is used to breach walls or break a window. A hammer or mallet may be used with other tools, such as chisels or punches, to force entry through windows or doors. A chisel or punch may be used to make small openings through doors or windows. A K-tool provides a through the lock method of opening a door, minimizing damage to the door. A shove knife is used to open outward swinging doors. A saw can cut openings through obstacles, including doors, walls, fences, gates, security bars, and other barriers. A bolt cutter is used to cut off padlocks or cut through obstacles such as fences. A battering ram is used to breach walls. Hydraulic door opener is used to force open a door, and a hydraulic rescue tool is used in a variety of situations to break, breach, or force openings in doors, windows, walls, fences, or gates. The interior attack team is responsible for advancing a hose line, finding the fire, and applying water to extinguish the flames. The members of this team need the following basic tools that will allow them to reach the seat of the fire: a prying tool, a striking tool, a cutting tool, a pushing-pulling tool, or a strong hand light or portable light. A search and rescue team should carry the same basic hand tools as the interior attack team, as well as the following: a short pike pole, hand light or flashlight, portable radio, thermal imaging devices, hose lines, ladders, search ropes, tubular wetting or short rope, chalk, crayons, felt tip markers, spray paint, or masking tape. A RIC team should carry the following special equipment: thermal imaging device, portable lighting, search ropes, prying tools, striking tools, cutting tools, including a power saw, SCBA or spare air cylinders with rapid intervention Krug or company universal air connection. The objective of ventilation is to provide openings so that fresh air can enter a burning structure and hot gases and products of combustion can escape from the building. The following special equipment is needed for ventilation: pulling and cutting tools, negative pressure fans called smoke ejectors, and positive pressure fans. The purpose of salvage and overhaul is to protect property and belongings from damage and ensure that all hidden fires are extinguished. The following tools are used during salvage and overhaul operations: salvage covers and floor runners, sprinkler shutoff tools, water removal equipment, ventilation equipment, pushing tools, prying tools, cutting tools, debris removal tools, and thermal imaging devices. All tools and equipment must be clearly maintained so that they will be ready for use when they are needed. This means you must keep equipment clean and free from dust, keep cutting blades sharpened, and keep fuel tanks filled. Okay, class, this concludes our lecture on Chapter 8, Firefighting Tools and Equipment. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me by email or call me. You can write your questions down on a piece of paper and bring them to class, or you can send me an email if you have any questions or ask it during the next time we meet. Thank you for listening to the Chapter 8 lecture on Firefighter Tools and Equipment.